mode.
Good evening and welcome, everyone. We'd like to thank you for joining us tonight. Once again, this is a joint broadcast between Mid-Sioux Opportunities and Mid-Iowa Community Action. We have Clydeen Kennedy in Remsen, and I'm Chris Polish in Ames tonight. I think Clydeen and I first just wanted to stress with all of you that these are only proposed changes to the Cacfp meal pattern guidelines. Right now, we're in an open period for the public to make comments on these proposed changes. Then the USDA will review all of those comments and make some final changes to the meal pattern guidelines. So for now, it's business as usual. We're still operating under all the same rules and regulations that we always have. We really don't have a time frame as to when the USDA might come out with these final changes. But of course, when they do, Clydeen and I then will get that new information out to you and do some training on that as well. For the next hour, we encourage you to ask your questions, and I think I'm going to throw it up to Clydeen now. She can explain to you how she wants you to type in your questions, and also we'll talk to you about when she inserts the polling questions, how to get those answered and make sure you're getting that done. So Clydeen?
Good evening. I'm hoping that you all can hear me. Sometimes that's been a problem in the past, so please let me know if you can. I have a different setup now. So, first of all, Judy, I think Judy said, how do I know if I'm logged in? If you're hearing us, you're logged in, okay? Also, on the questions, there is a question box down there. Go ahead and when you have questions, go ahead and write it in. And then I'll try to keep track of them. We'll stop about every 2 or 3 frames here so we can answer any questions. And we really encourage you to answer or to ask the questions. So, and then we can answer them the best we can. And then we can also encourage you to make your comments at the end of here. We'll show you and tell you where that you can make those comments. On the questions, if you have a tablet or an iPad, sometimes with the poll questions, questions come up, and then all you have to do is just click on the screen the answer. But if you can't do that, because I know sometimes iPads and tablets have a problem, just put your answer in the question area, and that way we'll know that you answer the question and we can give you credit for it. I think that's all I needed to say right now. So if you have any questions, just pop them in there, and we'll try to keep up with you.
Yeah, with the polling questions, be sure you're answering all of those so that we'll be able to give you your 1 hour of training credit, and then for my providers, it'll be next week because I'm out of the office tomorrow, but Clydeen might be getting you your certificates as early as tomorrow, but we will be sending you a certificate showing your 1 hour worth of training credit for the food program for tonight's broadcast. So I think then, Clydeen, I don't have anything else to say, so we can go ahead and get started.
We'll go ahead and with our first screenshot.
All right. Probably the first question that we need to ask tonight is, why is there a need for good nutrition in child care setting? And as you can see, we have 19.5% of households with children that have classified themselves as being food insecure. We have 31.8% of children and teens that are considered to be either overweight or obese. And we have 26.7% of children between the ages of 2 and 5 years of age that are also considered to be overweight or obese. So it's certainly clear that the Cacfp could play a positive role in reducing both the hunger and obesity rates for children. Last year alone, the food program served almost 2 billion meals and snacks. Each day, we have 3.5 million children that are served a Cacfp meal or snack. As you can see then, the food program has a broad reach, and we certainly can have a positive influence on the health of our children. This is the first time there has been a major change to the meal pattern guidelines since the program was first started. And Clydeen, correct me if I'm wrong, but that was back in the late 1960s.
Yes,
So
1958.
great. So you can certainly see we were way overdue to have some changes and updates made to this program. As it says on the slide, the proposed rule changes were to better align the meal patterns with the 2010 Dietary Guidelines for America. It was required by the Healthy, Hunger-Free Kids Act, also of 2010. The proposed changes will better ensure that children and adults enrolled in the program will have access to healthy, balanced meals throughout the day. And the goal is to include a greater variety of vegetables and fruits, more whole grains, and reducing sugar and fat in the meals for the children and adults enrolled. Deadline to submit your comments to the USDA is April 15th. There's only two ways that they're going to be taking your comments. The preferred method is going online to their website, www.regulations.gov. You can follow the directions online for submitting your comments that way. If you didn't want to do it online, they would also accept written comments, and it would be mailed to the address listed on your screen. Don't worry if you don't have a pen handy or you can't write it down that fast. Before we proceed to the next slide, we will certainly show that slide again before we close, as well as Clydine or I would be happy to email that out to you if you were wanting that address. All right. Well, let's actually start talking about some of these changes then. We'll start with the proposed changes for the infant meal pattern guideline. And once again, just a general reminder, on the food program, when we talk about infants, we're referring to children from birth to 1 year of age. So the first revision for infants would be revising infant age groups from the current 3 categories to the 2 age brackets. So right now, for those of you feeding infants, you know we have it's birth to 3 months, 4 to 7 months, and then 8 months to 11. Under the new proposed changes, there's just 2 age groups, and it's birth to 5 months, and then 6 months to 1 year. The proposed changes also delays introduction of solid foods until that 6 months to 1 year category. So right now, 4 to 7 months is when the only requirement is still breast milk or formula. Infant cereal is optional at breakfast and lunch, and fruits and vegetables are optional at lunch and supper. So with the new proposed regs, birth to 5 months, the only requirement is breast milk or formula, and then starting at 6 months, it would be breast milk or formula, and then infant cereal at breakfast and lunch, or a meat alternate, and then a fruit or vegetable or a combination of both at both meals. So a difference there. Another proposed change is allowing reimbursement when a mother breastfeeds at the childcare site. So currently right now, breast milk, if you're giving that bottle of breast milk to an infant, you can claim that meal. But if mom came to the daycare center or the home and nursed, it would not be allowable meal. So that's a change that now you can still claim that even if mom is coming into the center or the home and nursing throughout the day. So, and Clydine, is this the first place where you wanted to insert a polling question?
After the next one, hang on. There's a couple of people that can't hear. So I need to send a quick message. So, okay. All right. Since they can't hear, I can't tell them what to do. So I'm trying to send them a message because they're going to have to call in, I guess, is what they're going to have to do. So, so far there's just 2. So hopefully, if there's any more that can't hear, you know, I mean, you can't hear me. So we'll kind of go. And let's see what this one is. All right, she called and then she can hear then. So, all right, let's go ahead to the next one then. And then
all right.
Our first polling question after this.
Okay. More proposed infant meal pattern changes would require fruit or vegetable at snack time for 6 to 11 months age group. It prohibits fruit juice, cheese, and cheese products for children birth to 1 year of age, but does allow ready-to-eat cereal to count towards the grain component at snack time, which currently right now at snack for 8 to 11 months is just a bread or cracker, and adult cereals are not considered credible or allowable. So that would be a change now, allowing those Cheerios and other adult cereals to count as a bread component at snack time. All right.
Okay, let's do our first one. I'm going to launch it now.
All right, as you can see on the screen, the first poll question is, what age for infants is USDA proposing solid foods to be introduced? A, 3 months, B, 5 months, or C, 6 months? So you can just answer that.
I'll give you a couple more seconds here and then we'll close that. Okay. The poll is closed, and Chris, do you want to go ahead and answer that then?
Yes. Did you want to show the results or not do that tonight?
Here. Can you see them now?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
All right. So I think vast majority of you answered that correctly, because the correct answer is C, at 6 months. So 92% of you got that correct. So good job.
Okay.
I'll wait till Clydine goes back to the screen and we'll move on then.
I'm looking here. Let's see. Okay. It's a new system, and I'm learning as I go here. So, okay, can you see the screen now?
Yep, we're back.
Okay.
All right. Well, this screen then that you're looking at right now, what we thought we would do for you is just actually show you the meal pattern and break it out by the current guidelines and the proposed. So, and we're first looking at breakfast. Currently, once again, as I said, the current guidelines for 0 to 3 months at breakfast time is just 4 to 6 ounces of breast milk or formula. That's the same for 4 to 7. The only requirement is breast milk or formula. Cereal was still optional because you had that 0 to 3 tablespoons. At 8 months currently is when solids had to be introduced. So you have your breast milk or formula at breakfast, 2 to 4 tablespoons of infant cereal, and then 1 to 4 of fruit or vegetable. With the proposed changes, it's at 0 to 5 months. The only requirement is breast milk or formula. But at 6 months, then, you're looking at breakfast time, doing that bottle of breast milk or formula, then the infant cereal or a meat, fish, poultry, egg, yolk, cooked dried beans or peas, or a combination of the above. So a little more variety there. And then 1 to 2 tablespoons of fruit or vegetable, or a combination of both. So
Okay, we have a question here, and
okay, great.
April wants to know why no cheese until 1. Is that a change? And yes, it is a change, because we have allowed them, allowed you to have cheese for your babies, you know, up until 1. So that is going to be a change. And then the next question is, what happens if your parent does not want to start solid foods until 8 months? Do you know the answer to that, Chris?
Well, you know, no, and that would be things that you might want to submit your comments to the USDA as to what you think would be reasonable or what you would have an expectation for. My guess would be that if a parent didn't want to start to 8 months, we would need probably that doctor's meal permit on file for that child because they're not following the current guidelines if this turns out to be the current guidelines. But that is just, you know, my guess. I don't know if that would be accurate or not. So those would be things that you might want to express a concern about or voice your opinion to the USDA. So.
Because we don't, even as sponsors, we don't know all the answers to these yet because we're still in our learning mode too. So if the solid, because a lot of you guys have been doing cereal, like maybe 4 or 5 months, 6 months, and then but now it's 6 months for cereal, and then the solid foods too. So that's a very, very, very good question, and it needs to be answered. So hopefully enough people will answer or ask those questions that we can get some really good answers here. So.
All right. No other questions, then we'll go to the next slide, which is then kind of breaking out for you lunch and supper. Once again, looking at currently what the guidelines are. And for lunch and supper, of course, 0 to 3 months, just breast milk or formula. Same thing with 4 to 7 months. The only requirement is that breast milk or formula, because you're seeing the 0 to 3 tablespoons of cereal and 0 to 3 tablespoons of a fruit or vegetable. Currently, it's not until 8 months that food is required, and so it's that breast milk or formula, infant cereal, and then a meat alternate, which would include those cheese and cottage cheese and those products that they're no longer putting in the options for under 1, and then the fruit or vegetable. The new proposed change, once again, 0 to 5 months is just the breast milk or formula. At lunch and supper, then at 6 months, the infant would need that bottle, and then 1 to 4 tablespoons of cereal or the meat, fish, poultry, egg, cooked dried beans or peas, or a combination of the above, and then the 1 to 2 tablespoons of a fruit or vegetable, or a combination of both. So the big change here is, once again, at lunchtime, eliminating the option of those dairy-based products, so the cheese and cottage cheese and cheese food and so forth. So.
Okay, then we have another question. Are there still guidelines for high allergy foods like peanut butter, strawberries, honey, eggs, and so forth? Infants can't have peanut butter anyway, and nor can they have strawberry or honey. So for the older kids, I haven't seen any guidelines for that yet. Have you, Chris?
For the allergy types?
Yes.
No, I haven't seen where any of that has really been addressed. So
I'm sure at this point we'll just go like we have always done it. You know, if they have allergies to these particular foods, then we need an exception sheet, and we'll keep you posted as soon as we hear anything. Okay. So no cottage cheese or cheese until 12 months. That's what they're proposing. Okay.
So once again, if you feel to comment on that, this is the open period. So
right. So
comment.
And right now, everything that is in place now stays in place. Remember, these are just proposed. So we aren't changing anything until we hear anything else. Okay.
And once again, we have no time frame as to how long it will take the USDA. The open period until April 15th, and then they will take their time in reviewing all comments. So it probably kind of depends on how many comments they get as to how long that will take, and then they will come out with their final revisions to the meal pattern guidelines. So it will still be a ways off before we see any final changes. So.
And then Ashley says, if the parents want before that, then so is it okay? I'm not sure what that question is.
If during the birth of 5 months, if a parent wants cereal introduced, is that okay? I think is what the question is.
Okay. Right.
And once again, Clydine, I don't know if we would have to have a doctor's statement on file or not. The minimum requirement would still be being met by the breast milk or formula. so it would just be additional food. So once again, might be a question to ask. I don't know how they would handle that if you're giving above the minimum, if we would need a doctor's statement on file or not. So.
Right. And these are all very good questions to write down, and when you're making your comments, to ask them. Jill says, how about cheese crackers? Can they have those? Well, up until the age of 1, no cheese on the proposed. Now, right now, they can. Okay, let's see. I'm not sure if this is Ashley. It's no. Oh, she said sorry. I think she meant dairy items. So right now they can, but on the proposed, if it all goes through, they'll say no. But well, like I said, we'll let you know if that happens. So.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, on the next slide, then we have it broken out for snacks, and once again, the only requirement currently is breast milk or formula at snack time. At 8 to 11 months, bread or cracker was optional. The new proposed guidelines is just breast milk or formula, 0 to 5 months. And then at 6 months, it's still the 2 to 4 ounces of breast milk or formula, but as a requirement would be bread or cracker or ready-to-eat breakfast cereal, and then a serving of a fruit or a vegetable. So those would not be optional, but would be a requirement at snack time under the proposed changes. Okay, and then moving on, that was all we really were going to point out to you for the infants. Going to the next age bracket, then for children 1 year of age and older on the food program, the first big change we wanted to point out was that we have a new age bracket. So we have the 1 to 2 years of age, the 3 to 5 years of age, and then 6 to 12, and then the new, which is 13 through 18, and then of course the adult meal pattern guidelines and adult minimum serving sizes, which we don't actually have on the screen here for you. I think I just wanted to throw out there, Clyde, correct me if I'm wrong, I think we wanted to point out that children are going to only be eligible on the food program until they turn 13, unless we have a special needs and we have a signed medical statement for a child. Isn't that your understanding?
That's correct, yes.
All right. I think this new age bracket that they have put out there, that 13 to 18, would take into consideration for those children that we do have a documented disability and are on the program, that we actually now have some serving sizes and some recommendations and so forth. So I think that's why that was added. But the next screen, then, we kind of have it broken out by each food group and what some of the changes are.
Okay, hang on just a second. Another question here. They can't have cheese at all, or it's just not creditable as a meat. And if we're talking about infants, the proposed guidelines is that they cannot have cheese. Do we need to take it out of hot dishes? So if they put it in a casserole or something, for these kids that are, 9 months old, can they have cheese in hot dishes? That's another good question.
I would say, it's just not a credible foods on the food program. So for that lunch or supper to be reimbursed, you would need to offer the infant cereal or one of the approved meat alternates. Now, if a parent wanted you to give cheese, you would still need to serve the credible foods in order for that food to be reimbursed. But once again, that would be an additional food, and
I suppose it would be kind of like an extra, like you do for the older kids, so.
Yeah, so.
Okay, all right. And then will you be updating menu sheets when these, if any of them are implemented? Yes, we will.
Yes, And Minute Menu would also, for those of you using Minute Menu, they would update that program as well too as soon as these new rules and regulations come out, so that everything is put in there as well too. So.
Correct. Okay, moving on.
All right. So what are the changes for fruits and vegetables for children over 1 year of age? Fruits and vegetables are now 2 separate components for lunch, supper, and snack. It allows fruit or vegetable juice to comprise the entire fruit or vegetable component. It does not allow, though, for fruit or vegetable juice to be served at the same meal, and it only allows 1 beverage to be served at snack time. So currently at lunch and supper you have, the option of doing either 2 fruits at lunch or 2 vegetables or 1 of each. These new proposed rules, then, it would be 1 fruit and 1 vegetable. And what they're saying here is, though, at lunchtime you couldn't do milk, a hamburger, or a whole wheat bun, and then a glass of apple juice and a glass of carrot juice. So that's what it's saying. And same as right now, you couldn't do milk and juice at snack time, so they're keeping with that. Only 1 beverage at snack time would be allowed. And then the next category, grains. At least 1 serving per day must be a whole grain or whole grain rich source. Breakfast cereals must meet the WIC requirements, and it disallows grain-based desserts on the program. And the next category then, under meat alternates, it does allow a meat or meat alternate to be served in place of up to 1/2 of the grain component at breakfast time. And then tofu would be an acceptable meat alternate on the program.
Okay, we have another poll question right now, so let me pull that up for you. See if I can get the right one here. Okay, here's the next one, so go ahead and read through that, and then we can answer that. A couple more seconds here. Excuse me. Okay, I think we got just about everybody.
All right.
Yeah.
And great. The correct answer is E, only A and C. So with infants, it requires fruit or vegetable at snack time for 6 to 11, and it also allows adult cereal to count. So the correct answer was E, A and C.
Okay, and then I'm going to throw another one out here too, because I think we just did that one. So let's see if you can get this one. A couple more seconds and then we'll close this one down. You guys are doing great. Okay. We'll share this one.
All right. And yes, the correct answer is true. A meat alternate can replace up to 1/2 of the grain component only at breakfast time, so in the new proposed guidelines. So A would have been the correct answer.
Okay.
All right, and then the last category under fluid milk, the proposed guidelines now allows only low-fat or fat-free milk to children 2 years of age and older, as well as adults on the program. Allows only unflavored whole milk for 1-year-old children. Requires flavored milk to be fat-free only. And then allows non-dairy substitutes that are nutritionally equivalent to cow's milk to be served if requested in writing by the child's parent or guardian. And right now Iowa already kind of is doing that, and even in our current food credible list, it gives you a listing of quite a few soy milks that they are accepting with just a parent signature, and that would be 8th Continental soy milk, Silk Original Soy Milk, Pacific Natural Ultra Soy Milk, Great Value Original Soy Milk, West Soy Organic, Plain or Vanilla, and then the Kikkoman Shelf Stable. So that already right now. Anything else would need the medical statement from on file. And then the final proposed change here would be yogurt may be served as fluid milk alternate once a day, but that's only for adults on the program, and I think under our sponsorship we only have a couple providers that are claiming meals to adults, so wouldn't affect probably very many of you, but that is a proposed change as well. So any other questions out there?
None so far, so go ahead.
All right, well, we'll quickly move along here. What we did was wanted to just kind of show you then the proposed changes for the 1 year of age and older. We broke it out here by breakfast and just showing you the minimum quantities. So once again, fluid milk, it goes from just a 1/2 cup up to 1 cup at breakfast time, depending on the ages. Fruits and vegetables are a combination, then go from a 1/4 cup to a 1/2 cup for any adults. Whole grain or enriched bread would be a 1/2 slice up to 2 slices for adults on the program. And then cereal would be anywhere from a 1/4 cup up to 1 cup. So that's the minimum serving size information for you. The next screen then shows at snack time per age group the minimum quantity. So once again, fluid milk at snack time would be anywhere from 4 ounces up to 8 ounces. A meat alternate would be a 1/2 ounce for the young ones up to 1 ounce for adults. The meat alternates listed there then would be your cheese, egg, cooked dried beans or peas, yogurt, peanut butter, etc. And then fruits, or I'm sorry, I should start with vegetables. It's a 1/2 cup, and then 3/4 cup for your 6 to 12, 3 to 18, or 13 to 18, and then back down to a 1/2 cup for adults. Fruits, it's a 1/2 cup, and then 3/4 and a 1/2 cup again, and then your grains, a 1/2 slice up to 1 slice, or a 1/4 cup to 3/4 cup. So, and then lunch and supper finally. Fluid milk, once again, just 4 ounces up to 1 cup. Meat alternate, 1 ounce to 1.5 ounces up to 2 ounces for 6 through adult. And then cheese, 1 ounce to 1.5 ounces, and then 2 ounces. An egg, your cooked dried beans and peas, yogurt. Once again, peanut butter could count no more than 50% of the protein at lunch or supper, so just a peanut butter sandwich still would not be acceptable at lunch or supper, you would need to combine that with another meat alternate. Then the vegetable serving would be an eighth of a cup, a fourth, and then a half, and then fruits and vegetables, once again, an eighth, a fourth, a fourth, a fourth, and then a half. And then your breads and cereal serving sizes are listed there as well for you. Okay. And then some other additional proposed revisions. It prohibits frying as a method of on-site preparation. In the webinar that Clydine and I took a couple weeks ago, it did say that they were asking for some feedback on how do you define frying. So is it just defat frying or other methods as well too? So, so it was proposing that as a change. Water must be available to drink when requested, as well as then flavored milk served to the children 2 through 4 years of age, either prohibiting the service of flavored milk or requiring that that flavored milk contain no more than 22 grams of sugar per 8-ounce serving. Okay, and then finally, once again, tell them what you think of any of these proposed changes. Remember, your deadline for comments is April 15th. If you want to read the proposed changes, it's, what was it, 98 pages?
It's about 98 pages, so if you're in for the little light reading at bedtime, then go ahead and download those 98 pages.
Yes, if you're having problems sleeping at night, some bedtime reading for you there. But there are, you can go to the website, pull it down at the USDA as well too, and read through everything yourself. We just tried to kind of put together the highlights here tonight for you. So, and then finally, the last slide then is once again just that address and the website for you to go online or mail your written comments to.
Okay. So far I have not gotten any other questions. So if you need to ask questions, go ahead, and then what I'm going to do, I'll leave this up here for just a couple of minutes so you can copy it off. If you don't get it, then let Chris or I know and we can email this to you too.
All right.
And then we'll go ahead and let you do that for a couple of seconds, and then we'll go ahead and go into our next set of slides. Chris, do you have anything else to say right now?
I don't think so. I think we'll go ahead, and we thought tonight, since one of the proposed changes was on incorporating whole grains once a day into your menus, that this might be a timely topic to follow up with tonight. So that's the next bit of information we're going to go over with you this evening.
All right. I'm going to move on, and then we can always come back to this if when we get done with our next set of slides, then I can put this back up for you. So hang on just a second here. Okay. Okay.
All right, whole grains every day. What is a whole grain? Well, of course, when grains grow, they have 3 edible parts. The outer bran layer, which is rich in fiber and B vitamins and has some trace minerals. You have then the germ, which is full of antioxidants, vitamin E and vitamin B, as well as some healthy fats. And then you have the starchy endosperm, which contains the carbohydrates and some proteins. The germ and the bran would be considered the healthiest parts then of the grain. When that is removed in the milling process, then the grain is called refined. Refined grains are missing up to 2/3 of many of the essential nutrients. Some grains then are enriched, but this only returns some of the essential missing nutrients then.
Okay, we'll have a poll question here. Okay, go ahead and answer. Okay, a couple more seconds. All right, I'm going to close it down and share.
All right. Well, this one was close, but those of you who answered B answered correctly. So good job. All right. Do you want to widen that out maybe a little bit more there?
Do what with it?
It's only on part of the screen here. Do you want to?
Oh. Did that help?
Okay. When you're looking for whole grains, we have a list here of some things that you can look for. And Clydine, did you want to talk about any of these?
Let's see. Most of you know what wheat is, and oats, including rolled oats and oatmeal. There's a difference in oatmeals that you can get. You can get the quick cooking oatmeal has been kind of pounded down a little bit more, so it cooks quicker. And then the rolled oats are they've got more of the grain in them. And then there's the other one that kind of looks like a little rock. I can't think of the name of it right now. And that takes a lot longer to cook. But all of those have really, really good vitamins and minerals in them. Then you've heard of barley, and the maize is the corn. Brown rice is what we encourage you to use as much as you can. Wild rice is the same, and wild rice also comes in a black rice. Corn and whole cornmeal, you know what cornmeal is. And then rye is something that we don't use a whole lot of. It's a darker flour, and it has a very distinctive taste. And then millet, and then quinoa, amaranth. They're all kind of different kinds of grains that you can. You don't necessarily have to use them in breads or anything like that. You can kind of just use them as like an oatmeal. And the triticale is a wheat and a rye hybrid. And then there's teff, and then buckwheat. Buckwheat is a very strong flour, and it makes really good pancakes. But it is strong, so you kind of have to get used to that one. So, okay.
And then when looking for whole grains on products, there's an easy-to-spot symbol on foods that have at least a half a serving or more of whole grain. And if you're not already looking for that or familiar with that, we thought we would show you what that stamp looks like. Then on the next slide, then it talks about the stamp has been around since 2005, so 10 years now, so it's not really very new. The stamp you can find on a variety of products. It is a voluntary program for food manufacturers, so it's certainly still possible that you can buy whole grain products that would not have that stamp on it. But it does help the consumer when you're buying breads and cereals and crackers and cookies and snack foods to look for that, and then you know you're getting a whole grain or whole grain rich product. There's two types of stamps. There is the basic stamp and then the 100% stamp. If the product bears the 100% stamp, and you can see in the example there, the second one has the 100% in the middle of it, then you know all of the grain ingredients are whole grains. There needs to be a minimum requirement of 16 grams per full serving of whole grain. If the product bears the basic stamp, then it would contain at least 8 grams, half a serving of whole grain, but that product might contain some refined grain as well. Each stamp also will show you the number telling you how many grams of whole grain ingredients are in a serving for that product. So that little teeny tiny stamp is giving you a lot of good information there when you're shopping.
Okay, we got a poll question here. Let's see.
And then?
Okay. Okay, so go ahead and answer this.
All right, our polling question, what is the minimum number of grams per serving to be listed for a whole grain? Great. The correct answer is 16 grams. Everybody's still awake out there and listening. All right, tips to help you to eat whole grains. Certainly, you can eat more whole grains by just making that substitution of the whole grain products for refined products, such as you're switching out your whole wheat bread for white bread. And I'm sure most of you, if not all of you, are probably already doing that. So as Claudine said, we've been encouraging you to use brown or wild rice instead of the white rice, or whole wheat pasta instead of enriched. If you haven't switched whole wheat pasta yet and you're thinking about doing that, I would encourage you to start slow and maybe just do 3/4 enriched and then a 1/4 of the whole wheat, and kind of get the children accustomed to that texture and so forth. And then after serving it a few times that way, you could go a 50-50 blend and so forth, and get them switched over gradually to whole wheat if you haven't made that switch already in your child care. You can use whole grains in mixed dishes, such as adding some barley to your vegetable soup. You can use whole grain cracker or breadcrumbs in your meatloaf. You can experiment by substituting some whole wheat flour for up to half of the enriched flour in your pancakes or waffles or muffins. Note that you might have to put in a little bit more leavening to get that product to be the same as what you're used to if you've just been using white flour. And if you're wanting to make your own homemade chicken nuggets, so you don't need that manufacturer statement, you could try rolling it then in some crushed or unsweet whole grain cereal for the breading and making some homemade chicken nuggets. So then, other tips to help you to eat whole grains. We have tried making a homemade pizza using a whole wheat pita as your crust. Serve those hamburgers on a whole wheat bun rather than enriched. And since brown rice or wild rice takes longer to cook, when you're doing that, you might want to cook twice the amount, and then you can certainly freeze that easily enough and bring that out later to serve as a quick side dish for another meal. You can add whole grain flour or oatmeal when making your cookies or other baked treats. And then try 100% whole grain crackers at snack time. And for breakfast, you could serve whole grain cereals, such as your toasted oat cereal.
And just a little side note on the wheat pitas. R&R and the CACFP just sent out 2 videos here in about 2 weeks ago, and one of them was one of our providers was doing an activity, and then it was on wheels, and then she took this whole wheat pita, and that was her wheel shape, and then they made pizzas out of it. So it's about I think it's about 7 or 8 minutes, and it's a really, really cute video. So you might want to watch that so you can get some new ideas there too.
And the children did a very nice job in that video, putting on their own pizza toppings and a variety of vegetables on their toppings as well too. So it was a very nice video that I saw. So good job up there for getting that put out.
Right.
We wanted to close here with some recipes that you might want to try using whole grains. We have a recipe for creamy chicken soup with quinoa, an apple crumble. That was using, I believe, your rolled whole oats, and then the quinoa mac and cheese, the no sugar added banana bread, which was incorporating whole wheat flour, the banana chocolate oat muffins, which sound good to me right now as a bedtime snack here maybe. That had the rolled oats in it as well. The oven fried chicken, so doing your own homemade chicken using the whole cereal as your breading. The lasagna soup using a whole wheat spiral noodle, the sweet potato waffles, and then the pita pizza. And these recipes, for those providers that are on the food program with MICA, we have those posted to our blog site. So you can certainly, if you're interested, any of these sound good to you, go to the cacfpblog.wordpress.com and just look for whole grain recipes, and you can pull those up there. The other recipes listed here come from the Healthy Kids Cookbook for Homes. And Clydeen, have you distributed that yet to your providers?
No, that particular cookbook I have not. So.
Okay. Well, for once again, those providers that are on with MICA, if you haven't gotten it yet from KC, at your next home visit, we are distributing those at this quarter reviews, so you can get those there. For the others of you out there, feel free to go to our blog site if you're wanting those recipes, or I think Clydeen will be sending those out as a handout to you. If you are wanting that cookbook and you're on the food program with MidSU, you can go to Team Nutrition, and they are free there, and you can get a copy there. It is a nice little cookbook that has quite a few kid-tested friendly recipes. These were all submitted by centers or schools or homes, weren't they, Clydeen, that Team Nutrition has put together.
Mm-hmm. It's a good look.
So, yeah. So, and I just listed on this slide here the ones that listed some whole grains in the recipe cookbook. So you'll have some new recipes here to try when you're reaching that new goal of including a whole grain every day. So. Any other questions out there tonight about any of this?
Okay, let's check and see here. Hang on, I'm backing it up here. Okay, I missed one of them. Oh. I think it was Betty missed a couple. She says, I was trying to find the screen, and I found this. 3 came up. All right, I'll talk to her later. I think that was an answer. Steel cut oats. Is couscous a whole grain? I think couscous is like similar to amaranth, and I'm not sure if it's a whole grain.
I don't believe it is.
Okay, all right. So we can check on that for sure, but we don't think it is. So, okay, we've got some answers in here. What is a pita? A pita is a kind of a really flat bread that when you cut it, most of the time when you cut it in half, you open it up and it makes a pocket. I don't know if that sounds familiar or not, but it's probably 6 inches to 8 inches. And then I don't know if there's really a whole lot of leavening in it. And then you cook it, and it kind of it just kind of makes layers on itself. So when you cut it open, then it makes a pocket. So you can. It's also called pocket bread. So I hope that helps.
And I think in the grocery store you can buy it both in your freezer section as well as in your bread section.
Okay.
So,
and then I
look for it a couple different places if you're not familiar with it.
Okay. Then I have one more poll question. So this should be a very easy poll question for you.
Well, I'll just add here before we close, I want to thank you for joining us tonight. If you think of any other questions about the proposed changes or anything else, always feel free to contact Clydeen and I. We'll be happy to try to answer those for you. Otherwise, we will be sending out shortly then your certificates for your 1 hour of training tonight. And anything else, Clydeen, that you can think of?
No, I will. I'll go back to that other screen. Hang on, let me get out of here. And so you can have that address again. And like I said, if you don't get it tonight, let us know and we'll send it to you.
And also, I'll throw in there, reminder, you do need 2 hours of training to fulfill the food program requirement, so this was just 1 hour tonight. Clydeen and I will be doing this again next month on Minute Menu, and that is our next broadcast is coming up on Tuesday, March 24th from 7 to 8. So if you're a current Minute Menu user, you can sign up for that, or if you're not using Minute Menu and you're thinking about it and want to learn a little bit more, we encourage you to sign up for that webcast, and you can kind of see what it's all about. So,
right, because that one is going to be the first part on what is Minute Menu is going to be kind of live. So I'm hoping, we've never done that before, so what I'm going to do is just go into Minute Menu and go across the toolbar and show you what each one of the little tabs are for and how to use them. And then Chris is also going to run us through a little bit on Minute Menu Pro, so those of you that have it might use it a little bit further, and then if you don't have it, it'll kind of give you a good idea what it is. So I'll leave this here for just a couple minutes, and then thank you very much for joining us. And if you have any questions, you can email Chris or myself, and we will get back to you as soon as you can. So thank you very much. And it was wonderful not to have to go out tonight because it's very, very cold out tonight. So thank you.
All right. Take care, everyone. Thank you. Bye-bye.